everyone, and welcome to the Headteachers desk. Today I want to talk about the 3 classic mistakes that new head teachers make in their early leadership journey. Right, so let's dive in. Number 1, I think I've spoken about this previously, I have, and I want to reiterate this again. Changing too much too soon. And I've made this mistake myself. I would be in a school that would need rapid improvement, and my go-to response is always, right, okay, we need to change everything now, and we need to change everything yesterday, okay? And actually that is a really classic mistake that new head teachers make in the early days of their headship. Changing too much too soon. So I spoke about it previously, where you have to pace yourself, you have to pace your school development journey, and you have to be selective with the priorities that you and your team are going to focus on. So you've got to think about what is going to have the most impact right now, what is going to drastically and significantly improve the learning experience of your pupils in your school right now. And I think I also spoke about the importance of ensuring in the early days of your headship that safeguarding and compliance are in place. Okay, so please don't make the mistake that I made in my career, and I'm sure other head teachers who are watching this video are probably nodding their heads in agreement. Changing too much too soon. Pace your school development journey, and most importantly, pace yourself. Okay, so let's now move on to the second classic mistake. And again, I just want to explain to you guys who are watching my videos on this channel. First of all, I'm so grateful for your support and your time watching these videos of me sharing my experiences. None of the things that I am talking about in my videos, none of those things have, are just plugged out of thin air. I've lived all of these experiences. I have made all of these mistakes, and I've learned these lessons. So, I just want to share my experience with the hope that it's going to help some of you in your leadership journey, in your career. Okay, so second classic mistake is to neglect your well-being. And I don't mean it in a way that, that cliche people talk about all the time these days, your mental health and your well-being. But actually, let's dive into this a little bit more, okay? What it means to take care of your well-being, okay? Actually, starting with the fundamentals. Have you got enough sleep? Right? Because you can't operate, you can't be fully engaging in what you're doing during the school day if you are tired and if you're lacking sleep. Okay, so have you got enough sleep? I used to think that I could sleep very little and could still operate. And actually that was not good for me. I found out the hard way. Okay, I was irritable. I was not as patient as I would like to my team. But most importantly for me is that I would go home and I would be absolutely exhausted, and I would be, having such a negative experience at home with my family. And that is not the price that I'm willing to pay anymore. Okay, so you've got to think sleep. The second thing is, think about rest, think about diet, food, okay, water, all of the fundamentals that your body needs. Okay, so that's the first thing when it comes to, taking care of your well-being. Okay, the second thing is, have you delegated effectively, right? So again, as a new head teacher, or even as an experienced head teacher who's very much of a, micromanager, right? You might feel that, you need to do everything. You need to be in the know of everything. You need to be controlling A to Z, right? You need to know what is happening at all times. Actually, is that sustainable? Is that healthy for you? Because if a school only needs a head teacher, okay, to operate and thrive, then why have we got teams of people working in that building, right? So you've got to think about delegating and also building in that that leadership, because you want to empower your team members. You want them to have ownership of this work as much as you have got. Okay, so think about that. And then third point now is how you're managing your weekend. Okay, it's really important as head teachers that you've put in boundaries, right? So, I think I spoke about this before. Saturdays are my non-working days, right? So it's irrespective of how busy or what commitment I might have on, or, somebody wanting an urgent word. Actually, I have drawn that very clear boundary. Saturdays are my personal days, okay? And I need to take care of my mental health, my clarity or my sanity, okay, in order to give my team, my school community and my pupils, okay, the best of me, while, okay, maintaining positive, loving relationships with my family, my children. They are all important, right? So that's the classic mistake. Number 2 is that we neglect our own well-being. Because, we enter the teaching profession, we've been perhaps brainwashed, right, from the beginning, that is a profession where we have to sacrifice, right? We have to give of ourselves. Actually, that is not sustainable. Okay, yes, we want to make a difference. Okay, we want to have an impact. We want to create legacy. Okay, but we can't do that if we become unwell, right? So we can't do that. We can't make a difference. We can't have a positive impact if we are on our knees, right? Struggling with our physical health and our mental health. So please remember to take care of yourselves. And then the third classic mistake, and again, I've made this mistake as well, okay, is overpromising, right? You're very keen, you're new to the school, you want to establish that trust, right? You want to show that your capability, right? You want to show, look at me, I'm gonna be the hero or heroine, okay, that will save the day, okay? So, it's a bit like a politician, right? Trying to get you to vote for them, okay? Please don't fall into that trap of over-promising and, and under-deliver. And, be realistic. Be realistic with your team. Be realistic with your stakeholders. Be realistic with your governing body of, right, okay, these are the challenges. Okay, and these are the resources that we have, and these are this is the capacity we currently have, and realistically what we can do. Okay, don't go in and say, you know what, for example, if you start the school year in September and your school requires improvement don't say by the end of the year it's going to be outstanding, because that's not going to probably be the case. Okay, so you've got to think about the damage of unmet expectations will have on your credibility, okay, as head teachers, right? So there we go. Okay, so I want to summarize the 3 classic mistakes that, first of all, I have made as head teacher, but I'm sure there are many of you out there watching this video probably in agreement as well. Okay, first mistake is changing too much too soon. Pace, pace, and pace. Okay, number 2, neglecting our well-being, thinking that it's okay if we continue to sleep 4 hours a night. It's okay if we neglect the nutrition that we put in our bodies. It's okay that we don't spend any time with our loved ones. It's okay if we work all weekend. That is not okay, and it's going to catch up with you in a big way. Okay, and then third mistake, overpromising. Okay, please don't promise anyone that you're going to change the world in one academic year. Okay, you're a human, you're a person. Okay, be realistic, be honest. Okay, and actually by being honest and by being realistic, you're going to get more buy-in than being a hero. Okay, because sometimes that heroism, okay, is going to come back and catch you and pull you down. All right, so there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you like the video, please subscribe, share with others. Okay, and if you have got any top tip or any mistakes that you have made in your career that you would like to share, please comment below. Okay, I will see you next time.